affect the checking system, the way these copies are checked, and there are a lot of other issues as well. You cannot give board examination any weightage in a very fair system of examinations.
Should it be used as a selection criteria?
We can set a bar, say 50% or 60%.
Which is already there.
Yeah,
that is why 5 lakh students say.
Yeah, that is the only.
If you're less than 60%, then you don't get through.
And also the
okay, the mic is. Oh no, yeah, that gentleman there at the back. Okay. Sorry.
I just wanted to have a very short point. First is that IITs are looked towards because they are centers of excellence. Now, to be entering a center of excellence means there is some rigor attached to it. So which means there is a requirement which the candidate has to clear. And obviously there could be only one selection criteria which will decide whether a person is capable of undergoing that rigor. Now, you cannot have multiple standards of educations across multiple boards and try to normalize and then create something. So that I think is exactly out. And by putting a social motive to a selection criteria, I think all that is being done is a dilution of the selection criteria, and as a process, a center of excellence becomes a center of mediocrity. And once it becomes a center of mediocrity, neither JEE remains a brand, nor IIT remains a brand, nor excellent education remains anything to look forward to. That is all that I wanted to say.
Okay.
On one hand, the government is trying to do something to make India a great country, a developed nation. So from where will the people come out? On the other hand, they're trying to dilute the standard of an established institute called IIT. They got to basically work hard to bring out those students who can actually qualify to get into IIT, so that IIT can take care of those great people who would be required to bring India to the great level. On the second hand, when you see this school being 40% weightage, 60% weightage, you cannot do it. Because schooling system cannot be normalized at all. You can't trust this system. The way the boards get conducted, the question paper get leaked, whom will you trust? It has to be absolutely, not even talked about. Now you see, because the schools have failed to produce students who would be basically eligible to qualify to sit into IIT. So the government is doing the other way around. They want to bring IIT down. So they want to bring out a test which would be normal, which would be very easy, which would be very easy to crack and easy to give in. So instead of raising the standard, they bring the standard down. So from where will they get leaders? Like in the RTE, right? Education. 1 second. In the RTE, what they have done.
Just Somnath, on that particular point, there has been between different, when the IITs also had that 2-level examination, when there was a very simple exam to begin with, and then after that, the more advanced one, there was a huge correlation. So, I don't think the toughness of the exam, really speaking, makes much of a difference.
No, the idea is that as Professor Nissen was saying, that one single exam, the quality of that exam can't be too tough, because it has to be made available to every student and every mediocre or less performing student. Now, even the right to education, what the government has done, because the government cannot provide quality government schools. That's why they have made a provision that all private schools will get 25% seats.
That point is fine.
You cannot do away with your responsibility. You got to work on your responsibility. We got to work on our responsibility.
It is not the simplification or the making the exam. Take the CAT exam, which is a very simple exam, really speaking. But it differentiates. It automatically creates differentiation from top to bottom.
See, no, but the CAT, there's just not one CAT exam. There are 2 or 3. Yeah. So actually, I think the point is right. If you're going to take a common exam and you want some 200,000 students, or I think right now it's 1.2 million engineering students to graduate, then you're really saying, if I don't want 1 million of them to get less than 10%, I have to make the exam such that the top 300,000-400,000 are going to be within 5 marks of each other. You'll never be able to find the guys. without without uh, without doing some other criteria, like an interview or something else. So I think actually, I think you mentioned 3 levels of exams, like you have IAS, IITS, IP, whatever. Do 3 levels because they're going to different kinds of schools, right? Or do it differently. Do 1 exam for everyone, and then for the top 1%, do another, and then do a third. And then take people who come off on the top, so that you say, okay, these are guys are all getting engineering colleges, wherever they go. The next lot get the NITs, and then they get to the IITs. Maybe that's one way of doing it.
To give the ministry its due, there is a statement by, in fact, it is an open statement, so by Ashok Thakur, the current special secretary to the ministry, who says that they've asked the IIT system if they would be willing to conduct or advise or guide the single examination that would carry out the single entrance examination for the entire country, right? And in that process, there's a statement which says this, they believe, will raise the standard of the entrance to the engineering system across the board. Now the question is, along with that, would it lower the standard of the IITs as well? To what extent? So are you playing both ends, or are you just doing that? That's what the point is.
So here is one possible suggestion, and that is that you have the board exam, okay, normalized or whatever number comes out of that. You have an aptitude test, right? And you have the third, which is the engineering test or the JEE, whatever name you call it, right? And you've got 3 marks, just like when you get the SAT score, you get a verbal mark and you get a quant mark. Similarly, you get those 3 marks, and that is the mark sheet which is available to each college. And then each college decides what is the criteria that they want to apply on those 3 marks.
I forget other colleges. I don't think the IITs can look at that, because I think we are all very clear, at least what I get, is that the board exams have no...
So let them apply 0 to that first column.
Then why have it?
Or just as a cutoff?
No. Just not, let's not look at the board exams.
Hello.
Sir.
We will... Yeah, right. Yeah, so the IITs, I think we are clear. The board, we don't want to look at the board. So get it out
Absolutely,
completely. Yeah. Now look at what our exam is. We have to look at it internally. Is what we do in the JEE adequate? If it's not adequate, as Professor Indresan says, right now people are being able to mug and get in. Can we be innovative enough to make sure that the muggers don't get in that easily? And I don't know enough about setting tests and stuff like that. And or should we add some other test criteria or something else to try and get the profile we want, whatever it is, and identify them better? Right? I think that's what we have to brainstorm on. How to do that instead of worrying about, hey, put more criteria, get boards, and let the external world be. I mean, they've got their own problems.
I had a discussion with many students, more than 100 students, regarding board exams, that whether should be given or it should be used as eligibility. There were thousands of problems which are coming. There are many students who have got their board papers before one night, and they prepared and marked up and they have given. And there are a lot of problems in the standard of papers set in different boards are totally different. It will encourage to reduce the level of boards. And there are a lot of variation in population in different boards, and it will also lead to migration from one board to another. The level of questions set in Bihar board or UP board some year back, it was much better. Now they have reduced just because CBSE is setting the quantity, that average, the level of paper is degrading day by day, and that's why other states also trying to follow up, catch up with the CBSE. They are degrading the qualities, and similarly there will be discouragement for the students also to migrate from one board to, like, they will start migrating because the population, the board in which there is a major population, like CBSE, it has a maximum population. So students will get more benefit if you compare, if you use percentile.
So essentially your point is that disregard and generally that's the view that seems to be coming, that disregard the board marks.
It cannot be accepted.
Yeah, just one second. I think Shashi has a point.
I wanted to ratify what Arjun Malhotra was saying, was because a couple of days back I was speaking to Mr. Rajendra Pawar, wanted to invite him for the leadership conclave,
he has been actively involved in interacting with the students of IIT Delhi. And he feels that over the past 6-7 years, the kind of